The San Antonio Spurs win Game 7, go into the NBA Finals. What
Western
a
Conference
game.
champs, man.
What a game. First time since 2014 going to the finals, which I know, huge weight. But what
Yeah,
what a game was that, man?
I was gonna say, as a Pelicans fan, that doesn't sound that bad.
Uh, what a moment for Wimby. Just seeing them at this age. I mean, it's pretty much unprecedented to see a team this young. We had the 2012 Thunder make it. That's probably the closest resemblance we have of a team this young being this successful this early. And that Thunder team went through a pretty big gauntlet as well to make the finals. But
Also, a cool comparison because both that OKC team and this San Antonio Spurs team are stacked with young talent that are just absolutely exciting to watch.
yes, and they got it through the draft and they built to that. I don't know how much you can say this Spurs team was built like they had a lot of luck fall their way to get these draft picks to draft their guys. It's not like they really reached deep in the draft to get them. It wasn't like Tony and Manu when they pulled those guys out and was like, who the hell is Emmanuel Ginobili? Like, who's that guy? But I'm repping my Spurs jersey for the occasion. Shout out the
Is,
Spurs.
is it a Luke Cornett jersey?
Hell no. It's a
So,
Duncan jersey.
so do you want to go ahead and get that over with?
Um, yeah,
You want to
you
go ahead and say
can.
something nice about him today? Because you were shitting on him in the in the messages there for a minute.
Yeah, I've pretty consistently said he's the worst guy in the series, maybe in the league, for this series. He's been awful. He's had maybe a total like combined 5 minutes of this playoff series where he looked like a viable NBA player.
Was that tonight when he got that block and the rest of the game?
That was the best play of his life, I think. That
Yeah,
was the
he's
best play of
never.
his game.
Yeah, he's never gonna have a moment bigger than that, like or better than that.
What's funny is I've told you that I think the only reason Wendy's even heard the name Luke Cornett, Wendy, my fiance, has heard the name Luke Cornett is for me complaining and saying how much he sucks. And when the turnover happened, because when the turnover happened, he didn't make a play to the ball. He kind of just expected the ball to just land in his hand like a magnet. He didn't make a play on it, and then it got picked off. And as it was happening, I was like, they cannot turn the ball over here. And then I saw the pass going to Luke Cornett. I was like, no, God, no. And then it was an obvious turnover, but then I was like, God, he sucks. And then he got the block. I was like, all right. Okay. And it was huge because then it led to what, like a Castle layup on the other end. Like,
Yeah, it was a
and
4 point swing.
yeah, and they pointed it out on the broadcast and it was like, that was a huge moment. That was the moment that the Thunder could have really taken some momentum from it. And Luke Cornett, even though I don't feel like he put much effort into getting the pass to begin with, that was the most effort I've ever seen in his life to get back and get that block.
I
So
wonder if Wemby had like threatened his life at some point. Like just at some point, you're gonna have a moment. Please don't fuck it up. Like,
yeah,
please don't.
um, yeah, that was a great play. So shout out Luke Cornett. Go ahead and get my. I don't know if that's an apology worthy, but a little praise, little flowers for him. He may not be
Mm.
the worst player of all time.
Yeah, he deserves like a little, maybe a Walmart bouquet of flowers, like something a little nice.
Yeah, they do need a different backup guy. They need a power forward. They need somebody who can get rebounds. That first half, they looked rough.
Or they
Um,
couldn't get a rebound to save their life.
it was bad. I literally
Like I,
texted you at one point. It was like, have the Spurs ever gotten a rebound when Wemby, a defensive rebound when Wemby's on the bench? Because I don't
this
remember one.
2014 was the last one.
When Wemby was so what, like 9?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, that was a big moment, but they did come out in the second half, and their intensity on the boards was, that was the thing they talked about the most in the locker room because they attacked the boards harder than the Thunder in the second half, especially the smaller guys like KJ, Vassell, Castle, Harper. Those guys are attacking the boards like crazy.
They team rebounded really well in the second half, just as far as like getting tips on the ball and then grabbing it and getting out, getting pushing the ball down the floor. They did a lot more of that to the point where it almost seemed like OKC was a little gassed.
Yeah, SGA in particular. SGA. I know that we're going to be bouncing around because there's so much to talk about. It's hard to kind of stay on one path, but this was such a good game. We've been dying for a good game in the series since game
Yeah,
one, which is like one
yeah,
of the best games ever. But we've had
yeah.
a bunch of blowouts since then, and this game was awesome all over the place. But SGA. Bro, this was the most. I've always liked the comparison to Kobe. I've always seen the comparison to Kobe, maybe not in antics and like certain ways, but when he's on, it reminds you of that feeling when you used to watch Kobe's like that dude's unstoppable. And in that second quarter, there's a moment when the urgency hit him, and he hit like a tough shot, I think on Wimby, and then they showed a shot at him, and he just had this look in his face of like, if I don't have a phenomenal game, we have zero shot. And that's just when he went on a tear.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me the whole time I was watching this game. It was very similar to Kobe, where you were like, man, he's going to catch fire at some point, and he played well enough to do it, where it's going to be like the Spurs aren't going to be able to keep up. Somehow the Spurs managed to keep like taking the punch and then countering pretty well. But man, it's he's such a great player. Even with the antics, man, if he would just play normal all the time and stop doing the falling shit, he's so much fun to watch. Like his game is so smooth. He had one where he dribbled past, I think it was Harper. Wemby stepped up, he kind of sidestepped him and then shot a fadeaway mid-range shot, and then nothing but net. And I was like, and it was just smooth. Like there was no herky jerky to it. It was just so polished. I was like, God, he's nice.
Yeah. He had a couple just such high arcing shots too. It reminded me of like Allen Iverson back in the day. Some of his shots that were just they were moon shots. They flew almost thought they'd hit the scoreboard at one point before they fall in nothing but net. Um, and he was gassed by the end, and you can't blame him. I mean, one thing I really want to do is shout out the Thunder. The fact that they made it as competitive, and they were a couple shots and a couple moments away from actually pulling it out and winning when they didn't have J-Dub and didn't have AJ Mitchell. And I mean, we can honestly just kind of say didn't have Chet Holmgren, even though he played 30 something minutes, and they
Yeah, Chet was not
still,
there.
he was awful. I mean, just Luke Cornett was better than Chet Holmgren tonight. Um, and Luke Cornett played what, 6 minutes?
Yeah. His 6 minutes were way more impactful than anything Chet did. And everybody on the broadcast kept begging for Chet to do something. It's been a theme for like the last, maybe all series, but just Chet not showing up.
I don't
And
think he shot in the second half.
The Chet talks I texted you, it reminds me of the Paul Gasol talks, like when the Lakers lost to the Celtics. And they were like, Paul is way too soft. Shed is way too soft. Like he's gonna have to get tougher. He's gonna have to get like whether he's getting in the weight room or just getting bounced around a little bit during the off season and just getting beat up a little bit. He plays soft, and he is a really really talented player. Where he could play a lot better than he played tonight. Like we've seen him go for 20 easily most nights.
Is he scared of Wimby?
Dude, he's got to be. He played afraid. Like that whole game tonight, he played afraid of him. And he was you could tell the moment was too big for him. Like he didn't know how to be that second guy for them with all the injuries and stuff. Because in the past, like if Chet's not scoring the ball, well, they have six other guys who can score the ball. And now like it kind of went down and it dwindled. Chet's not scoring the ball. AJ's out. Freaking nobody else really stepped up. J Dub and all the other guys really nobody else stepped up. Caruso didn't play a particularly great game, scoring the ball especially.
Yeah. Yeah, Chet, if he was gonna have a big game this series, this was the game they needed him. They announced J-Dub was gonna be out yesterday, so they didn't even wait last minute to announce it. Um, they didn't have any shot creation. Shout out, actually, I'll get to that in a second because I want to give him his own moment. But Chet needed a big game tonight, and they were desperate. They kept trying to get involved. They kept pass to him on the wing. They kept pass to him in the corner. They even fed him down low a couple times. They ran a couple screens with him. They tried to get him in action somewhat. I think they still could have done a better job. And I'm not even going to say them, the players. I think the coaching, they have to, because he is such a vital part of the team, they're going to have to find a way to get him involved, even if he isn't the most aggressive guy. Like you're going to have to get him something easy just so he can see the ball go through the hoop because he was even missing free throws tonight, which isn't
Yeah,
characteristic for him.
they
Like
went
he
0
looks
for
scared.
there were two straight possessions. They went OKC went 0 for 4 from free throws. SGA missed two, and then Shet missed two, and it was like, dang, like Shet's really just not seeing it right now.
Yeah.
And I do agree they gotta get him involved early. Like that's what they say. Like that's what you say about every big. If you get him involved early, they'll check in on the defensive end and they'll play a little bit harder. But I really think he's gonna like either bulk up or get his stamina up, one of the two, because he's got to do something different in the offseason or add something else to his game. But and he has to get more aggressive because if he can be that second or third scorer, he's gonna have to like really, really get aggressive about it because he's so plays so laid back, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, or at the very least, just become one of the most deadly stretch stretch fives in the league. Like become their Detlef Schrempf. Like be the guy who's gonna do pick and pops that you can do your best to pull Wimby out of the paint, especially if you're running him at the five.
Yeah, if you're gonna decide if you're gonna be shit and you're gonna decide I'm not gonna attack the paint, then you better be the best 3-point shooter and the best pick and pop guy than you could possibly be. Because that's the other thing that Wemby was doing a good job on. Every one of his pick and rolls, like he dives at the basket and it's a hard dive. So like everybody sucks in. Shet could do something similar to that. And just in the sense of like, especially when SGA is not in the game and Shet needs to be more of a guy and a scorer in those situations. Like him and Kason and all those guys can run pick and roll, pick and pop or pick and roll if he would just be more aggressive or pop.
Yeah, he gave up on so many moments. There was literally a play he went to post up against Wimby and he just fell down. And I wanted to see the replay on it, but they didn't show it because I wanted to see if it was a legitimate fall bump, if he tripped over his feet, or if it was like, I'm just gonna try to fall and hope I get a foul. Like because I don't have an answer. And then Wimby just stood over him as the play was happening. Like Wimby is in this dude's head on another level. I don't want to speak for Chet and put words in his head or put words in his mouth of like talking about Wimby because he obviously doesn't. And part of me believes it's because he's scared too. Like he doesn't want to give him any more motivation than he already has. But there is a clear Chet against any other player in the league versus Chet against Wimby. He's not the same guy.
He's not. He comes out so flat against Wemby, it's incredible. He had one time where they passed it to him. He had an open three and he gave it up. And I think Caruso ended up hitting a three on a pass back to him. But it was one of those moments where if he was more aggressive, he would just shoot the damn ball. Like,
I saw a montage somebody put together of how every single time Chet is passed the ball, he does a jab step. And
really?
I was paying attention to it this game, and he does. And so I'm mad at myself. I haven't noticed that. But every time he gets past the ball in like a face-up situation or on the wing three, he may be wide open. He does a jab step every single time. And this series, I especially noticed that, or in this game after I found that video, because there was like a smaller guy on him, a quicker guy on him, and as soon as he gets the ball, he did like a little jab before making any kind of move. It's like, man, you got to get something in your bag. Like you need some that or just become more confident in your shot. Because if he became a guy who was just a knockdown like 41% three-point shooter, and it was just every time he touches the ball, instead of feeling like he needs to create something, he just went into a shot form immediately. Even if
Yeah.
it's a pump fake, like that's gonna be far more deadly than nobody's worried about your jab step, man. I'm just be honest. Like nobody's writing down on the scouting report, Chet jab right. Like
It's the more
nobody's
dangerous move in the NBA, man.
yeah, nobody's writing down Chet Holmgren. That first step is crazy. Nobody's scared of that. So you got to get something else.
Yeah, I agree with that. No one's worried about his drive. His drive creates no space when he drives. It's the funniest thing because he has to use angles, and he's better at angles than he was, I feel like, the last year when I watched him. But this year, he'll just run into like people, and he doesn't try to move around them. He has no wiggle to his game at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all shoulder when he
Yeah.
drives. It's all just bony shoulder. Like it's more of an annoyance when he drives on you than it is like, all right, I can't stop that. It's
Yeah.
this may be kind of jumping ahead here, but and it's probably something we can talk about on our like upcoming pod or especially in the off season or once the finals is over. But with this performance, and like we said, it's so clear and evident that when Wimby and Chet play each other, Chet is not the guy who can do anything to contain it. Does this make the Thunder legitimately consider the Giannis possibility?
I feel like you have to because if you're OKC, your responsibility isn't to Shet, it's the SGA. Like SGA is your two-time MVP, your Finals MVP, your NBA champion. Like no offense to Shet, but like if I can go get Giannis, I'm pairing Giannis with SGA over freaking him any day. And then especially with where they're sitting in the draft, you can go get Mara or Yaxel too to add to that. Like then you don't really necessarily worry so much about Giannis being a little bit older than everybody else. You just go, that's a good fit. That'll work.
It makes sense to me
Yeah, it does.
because for a couple reasons. The Thunder are in a position right now, cap wise, where it's about to get rough. They're about to lose. Losing this year was really bad for them because this was the year, really the last year that they could look at their teams like we have all these guys and we're able to pay all these guys. Starting next year, the tax on them is going to start hitting, and they're going to have to start saying, okay, maybe we don't need Lou Dort. Maybe we have to look to move Kason Wallace. Maybe Alex Caruso. Maybe we can't bring back Hartenstein. Like they're going to have to start making moves like that. But if they can look at if we could package Chet and J-Dub for Giannis,
Yeah, as long as if I'm OKC, as long as I don't have to give up this year's pick and Milwaukee's cool with like whoever, basically not named SGA, then I would probably move.
yeah, I could see them putting together like a Chet J-Dub, especially if it's a multi-team deal. They have Chet going one team, J-Dub to the other, and then I don't think they're super attached to their first round picks. I don't have any like, well, not that I have intel, but I don't have any like reason to believe that. I just don't think they're super attached to these picks unless they can trade up in the draft. I might see them package that if they can put together like 12 and 17 plus like AJ Mitchell and somebody to try to get to number four or something. I could see them doing that, but I could see them calling Milwaukee and just being like, hey, 12, 17, Chet, what you think? And then you're Milwaukee, you have Chet, you have a guy that you can talk yourself into. He's a guy for our future who can get better. And we have number 10, number 12, and 17 in the draft that we could package together to potentially move up. Like there's a lot of maneuverability there for Milwaukee. And especially if they made a multi-team deal and they're saying, okay, Milwaukee, we're sending you Chet, we're sending 12, 17, and J-Dub to X team, and X team higher in the draft, like Atlanta or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing a name. Can then send their higher pick to you, Milwaukee. Like I could see something like that coming together if OKC looks at their current team and build up as like, we don't have a way of stopping or even containing Wemby, who's just going to continue to get better. Like this is the worst he's going to be for a while, barring something drastic and bad with his health right now. And we have no shot of stopping him. Like we need the one guy who's consistently done well against Wemby is Giannis.
Yeah, if you're OKC, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I would probably. I know I just said that I would not want to trade the picks. I still wouldn't really want to trade the picks. But like you said, I don't really know how attached they are, and they have shown they can go get a guy in like during the middle of the season, and he can produce for them, like they did with Jared. And like, there's ways that's their offense. I think is an easy one to kind of be successful into if you're a smaller guard. It's built for that, especially if you're built a good scoring little guard.
Yeah. I could also see him if they don't decide to trade away Chet or J-Dub, which I don't think they will. I think they're the way they've run as a franchise, they've been very level-headed. They don't seem tied to panic about a situation. But I could see them being extremely aggressive with one of these other guys that they have, like a Mitchell. I don't think Kason Wallace, I don't think they want to move off of him. But AJ Mitchell is probably the guy that they're looking at. Like he's going to be packaged 12, 17 because I know they want somebody like Cameron Boozer really bad. And they have so many draft picks in the future that if they put together 12, 17, and like two or three potential good first round picks and AJ Mitchell to Memphis, do they say no? Like if you're offered basically five first round picks and AJ Mitchell for
If
Cameron
I'm
Boozer,
if I'm Memphis, I'm probably taking that, even though I love Boozer. I just think that like Okay. Well, now we have a we're in a weird added AJ Mitchell, who's a great player, but then we've also added all this extra stock to really improve our team, and we haven't been good for a really long time anyway. So if we're gonna suck for another couple of years, at least we have an opportunity to build it through the draft with some youth because a lot of guys don't want to come to Memphis already.
And if I'm the Grizzlies and somebody told me there's a possibility they could trade the number three pick, I would say that's the dumbest thing that they could ever do unless they're trading up. Like that makes zero sense for them to trade it. But if there's a team that could put together a package that would make me like, it's not a bad offer. It's
It's really
okay.
not,
Yeah, OKC
especially.
could but they could put together something, and you could even negotiate it too because there's other guys on the team that you could be interested in. They may even throw like a Thomas Sorber in or Nikola Topic, like other guys that are younger that you could look at as like they have potential still that they just haven't had opportunity. Maybe even a case on Wallace you could kind of negotiate your way into. Like there's options.
Yeah, there's definitely avenues. OKC is probably in the best position after losing a series. Like there shouldn't really be a panic. It's like, okay, how are we going to retool? Because obviously Wimby's going to be a problem for the next X amount of years. So now we got to figure it out. Whether we're all in on Shet and we think that's the option, but we're going to still go maybe build through the draft again and get another big. But like you said, the cap issue is going to hit at some point, and the taxes on them are going to hit, and that's when you're going to have to see them actually make some moves. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward.
Yeah, because that's the struggle with this current CBA. That's what happened to Boston. I mean, the only reason Boston wasn't able to keep the team that they won in 24 when they won the championship was because of the CBA rules. Otherwise, you look at uh, Kristaps is probably still on the team. Drew's probably still on the team because they just couldn't pay all those guys. They had to move on, and they chose Derek White and then the Jays, of course. But so that's something to monitor. Just,
Yeah,
just I'm
OKC is
throwing
going.
that out there before it becomes a thing, before it becomes on ESPN, everybody's talking. Oh, did the Thunder move off Chet? I'm throwing it out there before it happens.
We're going to see Sam Presti really prove how good he is.
Yeah. Yeah, this offseason is going to be the OKC is going to be busy. That's all I'll say. I feel like they're going to be busy.
I'd imagine so. Like I said, they have loyalty to SGA, and I think they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they're not only competing next year, but have probably put themselves in a better position.
Yeah. Because number 12, I could see them keeping in the draft. Number 17, I think that one's almost definitely moving somewhere to someone.
You could for sure trade 17 and just get like anything you want, pretty much.
Yeah. Um, and they have so many picks in the future. They have so many picks.
Stupid,
And
dude.
you're gonna have to like you can't sign all these guys. Like you have to trade them eventually. Like you have to package them eventually because you
Especially the way they're playing.
can't.
Like all those guys are so talented, they're gonna want to go get their money, and they're gonna go want to be like they're gonna start feeling that pressure of wanting to go be that guy because they get a taste of it and they think they can be that guy. Basketball's not it's not like football. Like you don't necessarily I'm not saying you don't need your teammates, but you can definitely really put your talent on a different display than you can in football.
Yeah. The star players have way more impact on the game
Yeah.
individually than in football, besides like quarterback. But
Yeah.
um, let's see. Caruso, you mentioned, wasn't spectacular, and I've been on this big ride throughout the playoffs or throughout the series. And when we talked about game one, I could
How much you
see the Thunder win if SGA didn't have a good game, but I can't see them winning if Caruso doesn't have a high impact. And the plus minus number showed. I think he has the highest plus minus for the Thunder in this series. Like he was plus
Yeah, I think
38 or something
yeah,
going
I
into
think
the
what you
series.
sent me was absolutely crazy. I think it was like plus 38. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just like right behind Wimby.
Yeah, Crusoe's plus 38 on and minus 56 off. And
That's banana. That's like Jokic.
yeah, dude. Crazy thing about SGA is he's negative 28 on and plus 10 off.
And I don't like overreacting to box minus numbers because it's very clearly okay when he's on, typically Wimby's on too. And if he's been so dominant, then of course his numbers are going to be down. So it's kind of tough to say, but it's still noticeable. It shows, I'll say this, when we started this series, at the beginning of Spurs Thunder. you and I had a conversation of, is this the battle for the best player in the world? Whoever wins is the best player in the world. Around game 4 or 5, I had a thought to myself, even if the Thunder win, it's still Wemby to me because he was consistently the guy. When he turned it on, they were the best. He's the best player in the world, just straight up.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, even though I was pretty impressed with SGA in this game, because I did think he was kind of gassed, and he was seeing so many double teams all series long that I know he had to be gassed at this point. I think he's another interesting offseason because it's gonna be interesting to see what he does in the offseason to make his game better, to where he gets better before he gets double teamed, or if it's moving around a little bit more and just changing some of his gameplay. But he's going to be interesting to see what he does in the offseason as well.
For sure. Caruso too did seem to get hurt at one point when he went to. If he got that dunk on Wemby, that would have been crazy if that
Yeah,
went through.
yeah, it would have been insane.
Yeah, but he looked like he hurt his wrist and he was kind of feeling it out the rest of the game. And I didn't like that three that he took at the end with like 20 seconds left, that like fade away 27-foot three that he took. I understand you have to take the shot, but I would have liked to see kill a couple more seconds just to find somebody. Kason Wallace was hot.
Yeah, I know. Just touch on this real quick about SGA. Back to him, but did you find it interesting that he really didn't look to score the ball in the last 2 minutes? Like I don't feel like he even tried to really look at the basket. He had one opportunity to shoot a three and he gave it up. And I know Kason was kind of hidden at that time, but like I was kind of expecting in those last like I don't know, even the 3 minute mark down for SGA to just kind of like really just okay, like screw it. I'm just gonna put it all on the line right now. I don't care who's guarding me. I'm gonna go and score. And I was kind of disappointed in that end of his game.
Yeah, I like you said, I mean, I think he was gassed. I think he kind of had everything, he gave everything he had. When in the second quarter, when I said the urgency hit him, I think that was the first moment he realized, wait, we can't kind of just turn it on and beat this team. Like they're
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
And they have that extra level that we haven't really seen in a minute, probably since last year in Game 7 against the Nuggets, where they turned it on and they were like, all right, wait a minute, we got to do it. Because against the Pacers, they kind of did that. They were able to take their foot off the gas and they were able to control the tempo of that series, even though it went to 7. This was the first moment that he looked like, whoa, okay, I'm gonna have to take myself individually to another level. And it seemed like by the time the fourth quarter, when they needed him most, it kind of hit. Along with that, every time he had a hit big shot, Spurs matched it on the other end.
that was the funny part, dude. The Spurs kept matching every single thing. Every time I thought like, okay, this is the shot, whether it been Wallace or even SGA hitting the shot, and you're like, okay, well, this is the moment the Spurs are going to crumble. And their guards did not. And it was kind of weird to see because we had talked a lot about how dysfunctional the Spurs guards kind of looked early on. And obviously they got Fox back, and that helped tremendously having Fox on the floor for the minutes he played, especially in this game. But it was the first time I've seen OKC's offense kind of out of sync. Like they just looked like they didn't know where to go. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know who to pass the ball to. They weren't running their sets very well at all. It was pretty much just run down the court. The first person who gets it, if you get an open look, shoot it. Like they weren't trying to run anything at that point. They were just first shot, best shot, let's go.
They
And I
were
thought like,
banking on their guys, their bench getting hot. Like they were just banking
yeah,
on multiple guys just feeling the energy of the crowd. Game 7, Jared McCain's about to hit 4 threes. Jalen Williams about to hit 4 threes. Like they were banking on winning by a group of just bombarding them. And really, that's what the Spurs did.
yeah, which is weird because you haven't really seen the Spurs do that at
Yeah.
that level. Like, almost Harper played out of his mind. Like he played such a good game.
I almost called him his dad.
Yeah, I did, dude. I was like, shit.
Yeah, Harper. And I wanted to go back to real quick to Fox because you brought him up just how big he was for them this game. For everybody who's been saying Fox isn't a necessity to them, this wasn't, yeah, that take aged like milk tonight because he, even though, I mean, you look at the stat sheet, I'm looking at right now, he had 15 points, 5 assists, 6 of 12. It's not really like, oh, Fox was like the MVP of this game. but he's the one that he consistently was just that level hand. Whenever they needed a big play, he also pulled Wemby to the side multiple times to be like, hey, it reminded me of kind of when Chris Paul used to talk to Wemby of like, we got it, don't worry about it. And when they talked to Fox in halftime before he went into the tunnel about what went wrong with game there at the end of the first half, he said everything. We texted about how he could be a coach just the way he was talking about the
Yep.
game. And he hammered rebounding, he hammered all these things. He's that veteran presence in the locker room, him and I would say KJ, where it's just, you need that guy. You need him so bad. And he was great. 15 points. It was allowed 15.
It was probably one of the loudest 15 just because he hit one big three and it was like that moment where he kind of like looked at everybody and was like, "Hey, we got this. Like settle down." Kind of how we talked about Caruso did when I think Caruso went for 30 and every three that he hit was one of those ones where he was like, "I told y'all like we're good." And that's one of the things where you saw Fox do what we kind of thought Caruso was going to do for this series. And Fox really just leveled everybody out, kept those young guards in check as far as like not getting them too emotional throughout the game and not getting out of sync in their offense. Because I thought San Antonio was able to run whatever they wanted to, whenever they wanted to.
Yeah. That three by Fox that you're talking about was the moment I was like, they're gonna do this. That was it because
That
Thunder
moment,
scored a couple times, and I think that shot put him back up like 8 or 9 or
yep,
something.
it was
And then it
eight.
was like, wait. And like what you said, he had that moment where it was like, we're good. We're good.
I told you, I got you. Like this is not gonna be that bad. I was so that moment though, I was like, oh, like I'm not gonna have to watch OKC in the finals. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Fox. And then Harper followed suit and he hit his three almost in the exact same spot that Fox did it. That just was like, nah, this is it. It's over. Like it's happening. Unless something crazy happens, which they tried. They turned the ball over a couple times there then. But
Harbor shot that ball with no arc too. Like it was like like that much arc. It just went, whoosh, and I was like, oh, it worked.
yeah,
Shit.
net barely moved. It just hit back like back iron and straight in.
Yep.
While we're here, we really appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you subscribe, like. We're going to be doing more pods and talking about the finals and then NBA draft, free agency, the trades, everything coming up. We're really excited about. Our production quality is going to be going up, better cameras. We're already trying to have better sound and everything. I am continuously trying to become a better editor day after day, but
Crushing it though. Man works a full-time job and still gets it done.
appreciate it, man. But yeah, so we really appreciate everybody comment. We really appreciate all the comments and going back and forth with people and talking, especially here on YouTube because y'all are a little bit more reasonable than like on TikTok. And I can say that because people on TikTok aren't going to be seeing this. So
Oh, I was about to say, bro, you're just gonna go out and hate on the TikTok community and they can't not
not
even do anything back.
some of them are great too. I don't know if you saw, but there's a guy in TikTok comments that apologized to us. And I was like, oh, I didn't know people on the internet did that.
Damn.
Yeah, because he judged like one of our takes when we were talking about the Knicks Mount Rushmore of players. He attacked us for saying Carmelo, and he only watched like the very beginning of the video where we just bring up Carmelo's name as like an honorable mention. And he attacked as if we said, oh, he's a definite on the Mount Rushmore. And I was like, bro, we agree with you in the video. And then he watched the rest of the video. He was like, I'm sorry, I only watched the beginning. I apologize. And I was like, hey, I appreciate the apology. It's all good.
There's a guy on Instagram who commented on it, and I meant to go do back and do it right now, but I'll have to do it when we get off. He was like, "We're gonna basically saying like OKC's gonna win," and I just want to go back and comment and be like, "So how did that go for you, man?"
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I saw that they're like, we're gonna prove we're the best again or something.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, bro. I like the confidence."
But yeah, definitely interact, comment with us. We reply to just about everything and we see everything. I can promise you that. And we're just going to keep growing and having fun. And we'll be, like I said, talking about the finals on our next podcast and stuff. But to jump back into the Western Conference Finals Game 7, we were just talking about Harper. Man, his poise is just incredible. The
I
fact that he just never gets shaken at what is he, 20? I think he's 20.
think he's 20. I'm gonna, if you think he's 20, he's for sure 20 based off our last pod where you got like, was it Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie's ages perfectly on the dot?
Yeah,
Oh,
there are a couple others too that I think I hit. Luca,
yeah. Harper Harper held back. Was it who did he hold back when he fell on the ground and he was grabbing him and holding him back?
Castle.
Cat was it Castle? Okay, cool, cool. So when he did that, I was like, that's a vet move by a rookie. Like just being having the wherewithal, not only in a regular season game would be crazy to have that like being like that on top of what you need to do in that situation, but having it in game 7 of the Western Conference Finals as a rookie is crazy.
That moment was awesome because when it first happened, I thought Harper like fell or tripped or got pushed or something because the energy was with because that was with the foul on Caruso that should have been a flagrant,
Should have
which
been,
wasn't,
yeah.
which we can talk about in a second. But when that happened, I thought he tripped into Castle or something because it looked so unnatural when it happened. I didn't realize what was happening. Then they showed the replay, and I was like, "Oh, Castle was about to fight him."
Yeah. Castle wanted to get up and beat somebody. Him and Caruso were going at it, dude.
Yes. And Harper, when he was holding him, was just like laughing too. So I was like, this dude just has no fear in his heart.
No, zero, dude. He's just out there to hoop, man. And that's like that's the coolest thing about this Spurs team is they just have that feel where they're just like, hey, we're just gonna go hoop, man. It's not that big of a deal. Which is funny because if you look back at like the first couple games of the series, they just look shell shocked. And then you get to game 7 where the lights are the brightest at OKC where their fans are nuts, screaming and an electric atmosphere. And he's just like, nah, we got this. Like I'm not gonna get too high emotionally or too low emotionally. Like I'm gonna hand him my thing, and it's just that's really cool to see for him. Obviously, he has the NBA pedigree, but it's still that was a special night for Harper. I'm excited for him.
I mean, according to you, he's better than Cade. So like, you're super high,
Hey man, give him a chance. He might be.
man. Everybody's better than Cade to you. So
Yeah, I guess I gotta own that. Thanks. I really want the entire city of Detroit to hate me.
if you want to know what we're talking about, listen to our last podcast where we talked about guys that we would trade the number one pick in this draft for, and we had a like nice long conversation about Cade Cunningham. And if you would like to see Sean potentially put himself on a naughty list in the city of Detroit, then definitely check that one out.
I
But you're
will.
super high on Harper, and this is one of those games where it's like I knew it. I knew he had it in him. And he had a play where he drove left baseline. I forget who it was against. I think Hartenstein, if I remember correctly. And he had like a little jump stop, and he looked trapped. Like it was one of those plays. He has zero moves. There's no trick he can pull out of his sleeves, and he just found a way to scoop it up around him and into the basket. And I was like, Jesus Christ! Like it's special stuff. We didn't even see this is gonna sound sacrilegious, but we didn't even see like D Rose do that back in the day. His was a lot of time was like he was one of the best finishers I've ever seen, but a lot of his was explosive and it was craftiness in the air. What Harper's able to do on the ground with his feet still planted is wild at 20 years old.
Yeah,
That
his
footwork.
his ability to finish off of 2 feet and then also just manipulate himself when he's in the air to get around things is one of the more impressive things I've seen. Because even that offensive rebound where he got it and put it back and he switched to his left hand just to be like further away from anybody else, it was just dude was playing out of his mind.
That's stuff you see guys who've been in the league 9 years do.
Yeah,
That was like it reminded me of Derek White when he did that. Mainly
yeah,
because that play is drilled in my head in game 6 against the Heat back in 2023 when I thought we were about to blow a 3-0 lead and Derek White did that exact same thing at the buzzer against us, which if we ended up blowing that lead would have been the single most heartbreaking moment of my Heat fandom. But um, yeah, Dylan Harper, he's going to be.
he's gonna be special, man. He's special. He's
I
the
might
entire.
join you. I'm not trading him for the number one pick. I might join you.
I can't, dude. He's just there's something about him. that I know what we have. Like you know what you're gonna get out of him. It seems like like I said, the lights were the brightest, and he showed up.
Another guy that showed up massive for them, you could even argue was the MVP of the game for them was I struggle with his name, but Champagny.
Oh, Champagny, yeah.
Yeah, that dude, he hit every big moment. He was 6 of 10 from three. He
I've been
had
waiting for him to have a big game this series because I've liked him for a while. He comes up, he hits some big shots during just the regular season and into the playoffs. Like he's been a good little contributor for them for a good little bit this year.
he was due for a game like this too because he's been kind of struggling
Yep.
shooting the ball recently. And tonight was just that night. He was the guy that every big moment that they needed a three, in particular a three, he was the guy who stepped up and hit it. And he had multiple rebounds that were just massive when they were struggling so hard on the boards.
Yeah, I was a little hard on him early on when he didn't dive on the ball. It was like Shet and somebody else, and he could have just like he stood up and he was just standing there, and all he had to do was dive, and he would have got the ball, but he didn't. And I was like, that's like a play to me that loses you a game seven. Like to me, that was going to be the play that like okay, I'm gonna remember that because you should have dove for the ball there.
Yeah. And you were right. And somebody else probably told him that, or he realized it and made the adjustment because in that second half, especially from like mid third quarter on, he was attacking the glass. He ended with six, Wimby had seven. So,
Yeah, he
and
played
that's
a
one
lot better.
area you look at Wimby, you're like, we could definitely improve on rebounding, but that will come if he bulks up a little, which I don't know if you necessarily want him to bulk up just for his health, but
I don't want him to get Giannis like where Giannis went and just got yoked for no real reason. And I mean, he needed to too, but I think Wemby needs to bulk up a little bit, but not too much, just because his height separates him from everybody else. And you want to make sure his stamina stays up too.
yeah. Vassell didn't necessarily have a phenomenal game, and if they were going to win Game 7, Vassell's one of those guys I would have pointed to would probably have had to have scored a lot. And I say they had a phenomenal game, really just shooting the ball. He didn't shoot the ball very great, but
Yeah.
he was impacting the game with the intensity. He looked like he was going to fight one of the refs at one point, which I
Yeah.
was like, hell yeah.
I mean, those they weren't. I didn't think the refs were that bad tonight, but the Caruso call, there was an out of balance call that was terrible, and I think there might have been like a few other calls, obviously, but I didn't think they were the worst they've ever been.
Yeah, the refs I thought were good. They let them play. And that's kind of what we've seen out of this series. When the Spurs were allowed to be physical, they won.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with game six that was so interesting to me was it was the first time that we've ever really seen the Thunder get hit back. And I was very curious to see how they were going to respond in game seven to being hit like they were in game six. Because you could argue what the Spurs did in game six is what we've been complaining about the Thunder doing for like
Yep.
the last 2 years. That's what the
Yeah.
Spurs did in game six. And it's hard as a basketball fan who's like neutral, like going into it, I'm not a Spurs fan or a Thunder fan, regardless of I like the jersey. Um, it's hard not to root for the team that's like, you know what, you all want to play this game? We can play that game too. Especially when Carter Bryant saw SGA was preparing to flop and he's like, okay, hey. And then Wimby's like, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, dude. He said, "I thought you wanted to. I thought you wanted foul shots. I thought I'd give them to you."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, yeah, that's fair. Can't argue that."
So I was very interested to see how they were going to react to being hit like that. And it looks like it potentially played a role, particularly with like Hartenstein. I don't feel like he was, I kind of forgot he was out there a lot tonight. Like, how many minutes did he play?
I don't know. In the first half, I noticed him offensively at least because he kept hitting those stupid little
He's so good at that. The little
floater
push
thing that
shot.
he's yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It's skies in the air for like 30 seconds. Like you're up there, you're like, God darn, is that gonna fall down or not? And then it finally goes in. It's always nothing but net, and you're like, all right. I mean, that's a good little shot.
And every time he shoots it, you're like, no.
Yeah, every time you shoot, you're like, that's a fucking break. He's not. It's not going in.
Yeah. And it goes in. He played 20 minutes tonight, and Luke Cornett was more memorable in 6 minutes. And it's hard for me not to believe how the Spurs played game six didn't play somewhat of a role in that.
Well, I think it did because just like you said, I mean, OKC has never really been knocked back in the mouth for their antics. Like they've kind of just been allowed to do whatever, and no team has really bought into the idea of doing the same shit back. And San Antonio was like in Game Six was like, hey, like if this is what y'all want, like okay,
And back to the original point, I think the officiating was good. I don't have any complaints about the officiating. That was my big concern. We were going to walk out of game seven just talking about the referees and the foul calls and all that. And the Thunder did their thing where they tried to get some foul calls here and there, but there was a moment, like I said, when Shea made the realization, like, wait, we actually are on the ropes right here more than I maybe even thought we were, where they kind of cut that out. They were like, okay, we just have to win. We can't do it any other. It's desperation time. And honestly, Wimby kind of embellished a little bit more than the Thunder did there in that second half. Like there were a couple moments I was like, that was a little much.
yeah, he did a couple times. He flopped a little bit here and there.
Yeah. He was fouled on the plays they did it, but it was like, I'm kind of surprised they gave it to him.
Wimby is though like they'll do this with like a lot of tall good guys is they won't call fouls when you absolutely get mauled to the basket. So he almost has to sell it more than like SGA does. Like it kind of reminds me of like I know they're not the same body type at all, but like when Shaq was in the league, like you absolutely at times had to just like rip Shaq down just to get a foul call because they weren't going to call it. So like I think that's kind of like the same thing with Wemby. You have to sell it at least a little bit.
And just having such a big physical advantage in general. Just Shaq, it was the size and strength. Wimby, it's just the height. Like it's like,
Bro,
bro,
he had a Space Jam dunk in this game where
yeah.
he was like standing on the block and just like reached up and went, and I was like, all right, must be nice.
What's that feel like?
Yeah, it's gotta be the craziest feeling in the world because it's such a cool feeling to be able to like jump and dunk. I wonder what it feel like to just be able to stand there and be like, all right,
Yeah. Just a little hop, like when you touch the top of a
yeah,
door
I get
frame.
hyped doing that.
Yeah. Every now and then you do that and you walk away like, yeah, I've really killed that door frame.
Yeah, I can dunk right now. Let's go.
Yeah, imagine dunking on another 7 footer with that kind of ease.
Yeah, like crazy.
So shout out to officiating. They
Yeah,
let the players decide it. I'm sure there's going to be some Thunder fans complaining about the whistle that the Spurs got because it does seem like the Spurs were able to be a little bit more physical than the Thunder were this game, although both Wemby and Castle got into foul trouble. So it's kind of like that's why it's kind of a wash to me, but
that's because you hate OKC and you hate all the fans there.
I do
They're
hate
going, they're going to get in their wagons,
it.
come to your house.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad it's over with them. And now we get to see the crazy New York fans. I'm so excited for this rematch of 99
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Spurs Knicks. It was Duncan's first championship was against the Knicks. It's kind of the story writes itself a little bit there. It's kind of crazy.
Poetic, man.
And if the Knicks win it, it's like writing the past wrong. Like there's so many layers to it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the finals.
Yeah, this is probably one of the finals I'm most excited for so far. Because last year I kind of went into it like, I don't really care. I wanted the Pacers to win. I didn't really hate OKC during that first season or last season. And then I don't think I've really been emotionally attached to any of the NBA finals anyway.
Yeah, I was super. Last year's Pacers team was the most I've ever rooted for a team that's not the Heat. I was rooting for them heavy. Like I loved that run. It was must-see TV.
It
Uh,
was magical.
it was, man. There was something special to it, and just how it ended. Don't get me started, man.
Heartbreaking.
It broke my heart.
Heartbreaking, dude.
Broke my heart.
Mm.
Um, there are a couple other things I wanted to bring up before we got out of here. Um, Kason Wallace is consistently my favorite member of the Thunder. I think he is awesome. He's a guy that if I'm any team that the Thunder's calling me and say, "Hey, we're trying to move up in the draft," okay, throw in Case on Wallace and we might talk because he's a defensive. He might be their best defender, at least perimeter. To me, he's their best perimeter defender. He had, as much as we love Dylan Harper, he had him kind of in hell for a minute. They're just bringing the
He
ball up the
did.
court. Like he
Yeah.
had Dylan Harper bringing the ball up the court like he was Magic Johnson with just that high dribble back to basket. Like
Yep.
that, and he just kept hitting. He's the only reason the game ended close with Cason Wallace there at the end. He was
Yeah.
hitting
He had,
like
he
three
had
threes at the
I
end.
was gonna say he had like 7 or 9 points in the last like 2 minutes. Like he did everything he could to keep them in it.
He always plays better as the pressure rises, his intensity always rises well. He always meets the moment. And he doesn't really, he's very physical. He's gonna foul the hell out you. But he doesn't really play into the I'm a flop and I'm gonna when people post the highlights or the lowlights of Thunder players flopping and stuff, Cason Wallace is never the guy that's included in it.
Would you want him in Miami?
I would love him in Miami.
Yeah, I figured you would.
He's made for Miami. I would love him like I love
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell. Like he's
Yeah.
made
He's
for
made
Miami.
for Miami. That's what I was thinking too when you were talking about him. I was like, sounds like you just want him in Miami.
Yeah. We'll never have him. But
Well, that's
if
because
I could so see him being Grizzly though,
yeah, I could see him being a Grizzly. Yeah, that fits almost perfectly. Or
bring back that
Memphis.
Tony Allen energy.
Yeah, with an offensive game though, like be nice for Memphis.
So I wanted to shout him out. He was awesome. What were his stats? I don't know if I even looked at his. He had 17 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 of 9 from three. He was only -3 on the game. The worst plus minus in the game was Isaiah Hartenstein, just kind of like we talked about. He seemed to kind of be tough. The best plus minus, the only positive plus minus for the Thunder in this game was Jalen Williams.
Hmm,
And he was balling. He was actually plus 10 on the game.
really?
And when he went out there, he had a double-double in 25 minutes, along with 4 assists, 5 of 9 from the field. He hit that crazy three when
Yeah.
he was handed a grenade and he threw it up. And then I'm not a his antics bother me a lot, Jalen Williams. And I liked him a lot early in his career, but I've really grown off of him just because of that Thunder antics that he has. But when he hit that three and he stood mid-court and was like talking to the crowd, trying to get everybody amped up, I was like, that's a guy you want on your team, though.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy you gotta have on your team.
McCain tried to provide a lot of energy and do stuff. The shot just wasn't falling like it has for the rest of the playoffs. And when I don't know if
He
he's gotten to the point in his career yet where when the shot's not falling, he can still impact the game at a high level.
he played like a young guard.
Yeah.
Like that he played like a young guard in a game 7. Like he kind of played like I expected the Spurs guards to come out. Like there was a part of me being like, well, Harper's probably gonna struggle. Cass will probably struggle a little bit, but they obviously didn't. But McCain definitely played like, oh wow, this is big.
Yeah, the Spurs defying the young teams can't make the finals, can't have this level of success. Like
Doesn't matter when you have an alien.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna defy record books and history with just the way we've never seen anything like it. Like we said, we talked about the 2012 Thunder. They had a run similar to this, but if the Spurs end up winning, the Thunder didn't. The only team you can really go back to through history that I mean, I can think of at least where they don't have an established champion guy in a young team because there's like the like 1980 Lakers, they had young Magic Johnson who won it who, as a
Yeah.
rookie, but they had Kareem. So like they had the established guy. The only team is really going back to 77. Like the Trailblazers team that won with Bill Walton, Maurice Lucas, that whole squad, where they're all young and they beat Dr. J in the finals. Like I can't, unless I'm overlooking one, I can't think of another one where it's anything like this.
I can't think of a single team off the top of my head that's as young as the Spurs are, and for them to come out and play the way they did. And beating the team that won the NBA championship last year, like with young guys. Everybody's young, whole team. Like I know they got Fox, but like the main contributors are really all young guys.
Yeah, they can run a lineup, a viable lineup in the NBA Finals, and the average age be 21 and a half. If they run Wimby, Castle, Harper, Bryant, and Vassell, like their average age is going to be 22.
Yeah,
It
which
might be
is
younger than
insane.
that, actually.
Insane, dude.
The highest plus minus for the Spurs is Champagny. He was plus 16.
Yeah, he had good minutes in the second half, dude. He played his. I mean, he had good minutes in the first half. That having the ball's the only thing that stuck out at me, but he still like he played really, really well. He's done that all season too. I was waiting for him to have a good game.
Yeah. They try to give Harrison Barnes his moment since it's his birthday, game seven. He's played in a game seven on his birthday before and won that one. So they were like, maybe he's gonna get hot. Let's give him his chance. And when he went out there, it was awful. Like immediately, they're like,
It's
okay,
not good, dude. It's not good.
how? Yeah, he played 3 minutes, and they're like, all right.
They passed him the ball underneath the basket, and he like didn't even try to go up. And I was like, "Good God, man, come on!"
He had two straight plays on offense. I was like, whoa.
Your age is showing, buddy. Your age is showing.
Yeah. It's like let's think of something good to say on the bench.
You're not LeBron. You can't play to your 100.
Yeah. Keldon Johnson was huge for him. The moment for me that I actually accepted the thought that the Spurs might win was when Keldon Johnson hit those two threes in the corner. When that happened like back to back, and then he just had that energy and he got hyped. I was like, if he's hitting his shots, we're looking good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
And then I think he
I
had a putback too, like right after that. So
It was very hard for me to start feeling comfortable. Like I wanted to the whole game. Like I told you, when they went up 18-9, the whole time I was thinking like, oh, they can't hold that. Like there's no way. And then they kept going, and then they second half they started or going into the end of the second half they started out slow, and then I was like, oh shit, they might actually win this. But I still was expecting SGA somebody to step up.
and I think that was the issue. They just didn't have a shot creator. And like we talked about Jared McCain, he's kind of been that guy for them. But when the shot's not falling for him, he's not. I thought it was weird that they started, because if I remember correctly, they started Lou Dort and didn't start Jared McCain, even though they've had some success starting Jared McCain. I thought that was kind of weird.
Do you feel like there's more pressure on Jared McCain in this game because they didn't have AJ Mitchell?
Oh, for sure.
Like you didn't have that like, okay, well if my shot's not going in, his shot's going to be going in. Like one of us is going to be hitting. Like that's just how it's worked. It's how it's always worked. I'll be fine. And so like when you don't have him and it really is all on you, like, hey, we need you to be that guy who's our reserve guy, a guy's gonna come in and get 20 real quick and hop out. But if you don't do that, like we're we're screwed. We're gonna lose this game.
And I don't even want to be too hard on him because he's a young guard. What we're seeing the
Yeah.
Spurs doing with those two guys, Castle and Harper, that's not the norm. That's not,
No.
it shouldn't be happening, but it is. And where McCain is, I think, is where he really should be in his
Oh
career.
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't ship McCain anywhere or get rid of him or anything like that, or really even say anything bad about him. He did play at Duke, so I can't. It's in my contract, so I think I'll figure it out. But he definitely has to add. Like he needs to go spend some time with like Michael Porter Jr. I know they're like not similar in heights, but just to have more shot creation.
Okay, I could see that.
But then again, Michael Porter Jr. is 6'9" and can just raise up above everybody else and shoot.
What about just his teammate, Shea?
Yeah, he could. I mean, he could do that. That might be a good idea. He's okay.
Yeah, because that's what's crazy about him is he's only been on the team for like a couple months or something at this point. So the
Yeah, he
fact that
doesn't.
they trust him as much as they do already says a lot.
It's also why you don't feel so bad about losing AJ Mitchell if that's somebody you are going to lose.
But AJ, he was a big loss for him. And if I could leave, like, yeah, let's do this. So the Thunder, their season's over. They had a very impressive year. They had two-time MVP. Going forward, how you view the team is it's going to be decided. It's going to be how you view this loss, how you view Chet, how you view J-Dub's health. There's going to be multiple things. The cap, but I want to give them their flowers for this series in particular because they dealt with a lot of injuries. I know the Spurs are banged up too. Fox has been dealing with his injuries. Harper's been dealing with his injuries. I'm sure there's more that haven't even come out. But SGA hasn't looked fully healthy. He looks like he's had some nagging injury. Whether it's serious or not, who knows? But when you're playing such a physical series, even the smallest injury can become feeling like the biggest nag when it's being attacked every single possession. Not having AJ Mitchell to help him just take a play off as being the guy who has to get somebody involved. That impacted them a lot. Not having J-Dub, and I think it hurt them as a team having that will he, won't he with J-Dub throughout the series. Of will he be
Yeah.
healthy? Will he be available? Won't he? And then they play him, and then he looks bad, and then they play him, and they have hope, and then he looks bad again, and they're like, fine, we're not playing him. I think that does a lot on them. And the fact that they were able to get this close to making it while having these injuries, Caruso got banged up. There's multiple guys that just didn't look right. I'm impressed with them and just their ability to have that next man up mentality where a guy like Jalen Williams can be their star of the night or Alex Caruso can be big. Kason Wallace gets his moment. Hartenstein had his moments. Basically, everybody got minutes besides Dort.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
OKC, I've been as much as I hate the way they play with the flopping and stuff, they have impressed me. And I think a lot of it had to do too with they're still really young. And so playing all the way into the final, winning the finals last year, and then making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals this year, that's more games than those guys are used to really playing in a season. Like they have played so many games in the last 2 years. Like, and you go into a physical series against San Antonio, you're gonna get tired. Like there's no like, SGA just couldn't find that next gear. The whole team as a whole, Chet can't find that next gear yet. Like they're gonna. That's why I don't think they should really do much in the offseason besides build through the draft.
Yeah, and if you can package a couple picks, maybe one of the guys like a AJ or and future picks to move up to get like a boozer, I think you probably do that.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed with them. They have a bunch of maneuverability and a lot of things that they can do. If you're a Thunder fan, I don't think you're panicking. If you are able to understand anything beyond just the current moment. Um, but it's the Spurs moment and seeing them come together, seeing them come together and just rally around Wemby and just all get emotional. I'm so excited for the finals.
Yeah.
Can't be more looking forward to Spurs and the Knicks. I don't have any Knicks gear, otherwise I would have worn that too. But
It's because he hates New York and all New York fans.
I have Mets gear and they suck. So, I'm really not, I'm not a Mets hater. If I
Yeah,
did
I
have a
guess
baseball team, the Mets would be kind of high on the list. For some reason, I liked watching them whenever I have. I know it's a weird one. I don't know.
it's a terrible pick, dude.
I think because I don't like the Yankees, which that's gonna get me in trouble. I don't like the Yankees. So I was like, the Mets are kind of cool. And I think I
I don't
saw a
like.
hat one day that had Illmatic on the side and it was like a Mets hat, and I was like, sold.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. That would have been. That's a good reason. You should have just said that's why you like the Mets,
Yeah.
and I would have been like, yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna argue that. That's a great reason.
If it has my goat seal of approval, you got mine. But did
There's
you
a
have
joke.
anything else on the game before we head out
I
of
was
here?
just looking forward to you having to say nice things about Luke Cornett. Honestly, the thing I was looking forward to most.
It's great. He used to play for the Knicks, and I forgot about that.
I didn't even know he played for the Knicks.
I saw a picture of it today, actually, and I was like, I don't have any memory of him on the Knicks, but
I
he did.
didn't even know he was in the league that long. Played for two
Yeah,
teams.
like a couple years ago, I thought he was like, oh, he must be like 24 years old. And I looked, and a couple years ago, he was like 30. I was like, whoa.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's like 31, 32 right now.
Oh, I've been thinking he was like 24 the entire time, like somewhere around there.
No. I mean, you can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure he's like 31, 32,
That's
somewhere in that range.
crazy.
He might even be old. I don't know if he's older than that. He's somewhere around there. I'm curious now.
Yeah, we gotta stay on for this one. I don't. Oh, he's 30.
30. Hmm.
He looks like a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Like especially like it's not gonna be able to see it on the pod, but like in that picture,
Yeah.
he looks like a 30-year-old. That's a tough picture. Poor guy.
The camera crew loves showing Luke Cornett for whatever reason.
Yeah, they love him. They showed him. No, it wasn't him. It was Kelly Olynyk. I was just thinking about how stupid Kenny Olynyk looked holding up the trophy next to Wemby and just like just him being around. Like I just don't ever think of Kelly Olynyk ever. And then I'm like, oh shit, he plays for the Spurs.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a play SGA hit a big shot. Super tough shot. And immediate it was actually they came out of timeout. SGA hit a big shot. The crowd goes crazy and Spurs immediately call a timeout. Which I want to shout out Mitch real quick before we get out of here. And just say, I thought that was awesome. When he called time, he did not let the crowd get into this game. And he consistently managed the crowd more than the clock. And I think against this team and how they feed off the crowd, you have to do that. And SGA hit that first shot immediately, timeout. He, nope, we're not letting them get into it. And then
Yeah.
what does the camera do? Here's Blue Cornet for whatever reason. It's like, what are we doing?
He did a great job managing the entire game. Like I feel like he's like whatever game plan they stuck with or went with, they stuck with it the whole time. He used his timeouts in the perfect spots. Like there was usually in games I'll watch him I'm like, oh, call a timeout. Like please call a timeout. Why are you not calling a timeout? But he man, every time I thought they should call a timeout or he would call a timeout, I'm like, damn, that was a good timeout.
Yeah. He never let them get in too much of a rhythm and never let that crowd get too loud.
Yeah,
It was always, and he kept managing Wemby's time. It was just a masterclass by him. And I think Dagnall kind of realized it in the moment when it ended. He was watching Mitch hug somebody, I forget who, and he was just standing there like smiling, looking at him. I think he was like, yeah, he did a hell of a job tonight. It was
yeah,
undeniable.
yeah. Great job.
So, congratulations to a great season to the Spurs, Thunder fans out there. I promise this isn't the end of the world, and I promise not everybody, the league didn't conspire for you to lose because I know I'm going to see that. But shout out Shea, he did his thing tonight. He was awesome to watch. This is what we love. We love playoff basketball. We love intense basketball, and I think the better team won tonight, and I
I
think the
just
Thunder will get
my
better.
Yeah, my only hope is somebody finds Chet wherever he's at. Y'all get Chet, bring him home. He was not at the game tonight.
Yeah.
That was a clone.
Missing persons report on Chet.
Yeah, we hit him on some milk canisters. Chet is missing.
Let us know anything you want us to talk about in this upcoming pod and besides just in the NBA finals and let us know what you think the finals are going to look like and we will be back here soon and talk more basketball.
Logan's got Spurs in 4 because fuck the Knicks. That's what you said to me earlier. That's what you said.
Never said that.
That's what I heard.
Never said that. I
I
want them
don't know
both
about
to
that.
win.
It can't happen. You got to pick one.
I will next time.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave a little cliffhanger.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, man.